Alrighty folks, Ryder here. Gonna do another hive inspection. We got some smoke here. So pump a little smoke in the entrance. There's not a lot of activity because it's only like 45 degrees outside right now, and it was fairly cold last night. So we're just gonna go ahead and pump a little smoke in here. And looks like my smoker's not working as well as I thought it was going to. So light it up again, I guess. Yeah, just kind of smoldered out.
A little
Looked like
diesel
it was
will
going
help it.
pretty good.
There we go.
Maybe do what my mentor does. Yeah, I don't think so. Come on, let's get going. There we go. Got some flames going on. There, that's some decent smoke. And the whole idea behind the smoke is to mask their ability to send out alarms. And that way they're less likely to become defensive. So let me go ahead and get this hoodie off. Put my smoke out and don my suit. So I already expanded the box out because I went in and looked and it was at 80% on the bottom box, and that's when you want to expand. We're going to do a couple things in here today. Mainly check to see what the brood pattern looks like and determine how much she's laying. We're not going to try to mark the queen. We're not really even looking for the queen, but if we see her, we'll try to do a close-up of her. And the other thing is I might take out some malformed frames if there's no brood on them and replace them with other frames. So it all depends on what I see. There's a bee that the mockingbirds missed. I'll put it up on the fence for the mockingbirds to enjoy because
they eat dead ones too, huh?
They are the bee eaters around here. Take the outer lid off and set it down, and the inner lid. And since I've just been inside this hive, they haven't built up enough propolis to need the hive tool for any of this yet. And I really don't need this on here. I just happen to leave it on there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that away. Now here's one thing we can look at real quick is that I have gone through and screwed down all the excess propolis. Now, I'm not going to be putting this medium box today, but I'm just showing you that you can collect a large amount of propolis cleaning up boxes, and that big pile came from this box right here, which I cleaned up. So these are all relatively new frames. I'm going to go ahead and give the camera back to Ken. Okay. And where did I set the hive tool? Did I take it over to the other
don't see
hive? Yep, it's over here by the other hive. So this top box has only been on here for a couple days, so there really shouldn't be too very much going on in it. But what I'm going to do is look at a couple of the center frames and see if they've drawn out any comb in them. And it looks like they have. There's a little bit of comb on there. Some of this was existing. So at this point in time, I'm not seeing a whole lot of new. They haven't drawn anything onto this yet. And here you can see there's some pollen from a previous harvest.
Those light colored ones are pollen?
Yeah, the orange spots, that's pollen in there. So I think there was a couple of frames like that. So I'm going to push all these to the center from both ends, give us a nice gap on the edges, and we'll go ahead and they have sealed it a little bit, and we'll take that and set that aside. And right now I am counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 5. And so this, I thought it was up to 8. And maybe it was with all the excess activity that was going on. but it doesn't look like it. So I really don't need that upper box on here right now.
Because it's not full yet.
It's not at 80%.
80%, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll take a look at what's going on in here.
8 out of 10, huh?
Yep. Let's start loosen this one up here on the end, and then the next one in. Let's go ahead and pull that out. Well, they're definitely not
That's
at
clean.
8 frames. So take that frame off. We do not need this upper box on here yet.
Are you looking at for both sides to be full, or just one? How does that work?
Yeah, both sides
All right.
of 8 frames. So there, I've got some space in there. Let's go ahead and release the next box over, or the next frame over. Okay, so this frame has got some really old wax on it, and you can tell by how dark it is that it's very old. And there's some pollen in here and there's some honey in here, so I'm not going to take this one away from them, but I am going to push it all the way over to the outside edge and probably leave it right there. Let's take a look at the next one. So this one is absolutely full of honey.
Oh yeah.
And there's some pollen in there, and there's some very large cells, which means drones.
Oh,
So she should be laying drones in these cells up here. See how much larger they are?
yeah. You don't have a what do you call it, a frame or a body in there? It's
No,
just-
this had no base. This is just naturally built honeycomb on this, because I had just put this in there as an empty frame.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no base whatsoever on that one. Okay, so that one's still good. I'm gonna leave that one. We still haven't seen any brood, but in this next frame we should see some brood, hopefully. Now look at all this propolis buildup on here.
On the top
Just
there,
a ton of propolis buildup on this thing. I'll continue to add that to my propolis pile. And I'd like to go in and clean all this out. Maybe today's not the best day to spend too much time in here because of the cold weather. So here is actually a little piece of duct tape. So what these frames were from was when I took some comb out of a wall, and I actually used duct tape or rubber bands to hold it into the frames.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we're seeing an absolute ton of pollen and a small patch of brood, capped brood there.
What's the lighter?
That's honey. That's capped honey.
Okay.
That's capped honey. So the 2 upper corners, and in this case this one lower corner, are full of honey, and then there's brood in the center. So that's a good pattern, actually.
Okay.
That's what we like to see. Now over here, that's a lot of honey. It's mostly honey and pollen, so they got a lot of good stores in this hive. So we've seen our first frame that had some brood on it. I'm gonna go ahead and clean out a little bit more of this propolis. Like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on that because it is a cold day. Take out this big chunk. That's why a lot of these frames are malformed.
Why?
Is
of the-
because I believe these were made from, look at that brood pattern. There's just a ton of brood in there. So while I'd like to get rid of this frame because it's so malformed, I'm certainly not going to do it while it's full of all that brood. That's an absolute ton of brood in there. And then you see the 2 upper corners are full of honey. Okay. So as much as I'd like to clean this up, I probably won't happen until the split. Here's another one that's very malformed. And there's the queen. You can see her right in the center, bulldozing her way through the crowd.
You don't have a dot on her. She
No,
must be new.
she is new.
Yeah.
And she's bigger than when I first saw her about a month ago. So when we first saw her, we thought we might want to requeen because she was so small. I see she's literally hiding right now. She's doing a really good job of hiding. So I think this is really all I need to see. You can see capped larva, you can see larva, and we know she was just in here laying eggs. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this back together the way it is. And I am going to not put that other box on because it's not ready for it yet. I'm really going to gently move this over because I don't want to crush her. I don't want to crush any of them, but I definitely don't want to crush her. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move this one back nice and slowly. And one of the reasons why I want to clean up some of the propolis is to be able to work the boxes easier.
The one that doesn't have the center in it, the frame,
Right.
that seemed to form pretty good compared to some other ones I saw there.
Yeah. This one right here, I think I'm going to put all the way over to the wall. So I'm going to reduce this one back down to a single box simply because it does not have as much going on in it as I originally thought when I was in here the other day. So we'll just put the inner lid on. Sometimes I take it and put it at a diagonal and then shift it over, and I'm less likely to crush any bees doing that. So that's it for this one.
Alrighty.
Let's restart our smoker again.
Keeps going out.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I think I might just cut another piece of burlap real quick.
Looks like it's starting again.
Yeah, maybe a little oxygen is all it needed.
Yeah.
That's kind of warm. There we go. Okay, grab my hive tool and the smoker, and I'm also going to grab the camera, or not the camera, but the phone, and move the phone a little bit further out. And hopefully this one continues. My apologies if it doesn't. Okay. So that's a successful inspection. Queen, we saw a good brood pattern. We determined that it was not ready for me to expand to ducks. It's the second time this year that I've done that. The first time I had slowed down her laying. In fact, I completely stopped her laying because I treated it with Formic Pro, which is a natural pesticide for getting rid of varroa mites. So that's enough smoke. So we'll start with this one.
With the smoke, are you just smoking the outside of the hive? You don't want to blow it in, or?
No, you're also blowing it inside, and you can actually just put it right over the top.
You're not gonna
it's still quite cool.
Yeah. So
normally you don't want to do inspections until it's above 50 degrees, but because of time constraints, this is what we're doing. So this one, I'm seeing a lot of different stuff compared to the other one. For starters, that's a lot of new drawn out comb. This was a absolutely blank frame just a couple days ago.
Wow.
So that is a lot of drawn out comb, and it's interesting that it's way out here.
Looks so clean and everything.
It's interesting that it's way out here on the side.
What? You mean they start on the edge in the corner?
They normally start in the middle.
Oh, I see.
Okay, and here, this frame, actually, they've drawn this out and they're filling it with honey way out on the edge. So that's really interesting to see them starting out on the edges so far. But they're obviously setting this up for stores. Go ahead and scrape off this little bit of
Stores meaning honey for them, huh?
honey for them and pollen for them. Well, all honey is for them.
Yeah.
It's only because of our human thievery that we think it's otherwise. Okay, so just keep on working my way into this hive. I don't need to pull any more out. And let's see what we got going on here.
Yeah, there's some busyness.
So a lot of bees, and it looks like most likely they're drawing out wax. In fact, you can see the wax on, because it's a blacking. You can see the new wax on there. Pattern and our new wax. They're building up wax on there. So that's 3 for the new wax on. This one's not interesting. There we go.
Propolis.
Yep. All right, so this one's interesting. This is full of fresh honey. Absolutely full of fresh honey. See how it's not capped? They haven't dehydrated it yet. Right in the middle of the hive.
Uh-huh.
So it's
no eggs or anything in that one, huh?
no eggs in the upper compartment yet. So I'm hoping that they'll start doing that in the next week. Absolutely blank frame. You can see they're drawing a little bit of comb there on the bottom of that one. And these next 3 are probably going to be completely blank. Well, I'm wrong again. There's fresh. They are drawing out wax in this top box already. So that's actually quite pleasing to see. Yep, they are definitely drawing out wax. You can just see they're even depositing nectar or tending nectar right now. Yeah, this is all brand new. Frame was completely blank. Yeah.
You said a few days ago.
So I want to say it was Wednesday.
God, they should go to work. They work around the clock, I bet.
They do. They do work around the clock.
Don't be
This
sleeping.
is really interesting. This pattern, really interesting going on over here. I'm going to move this one. No, I'm not. I'm just going to put it right back the way I found it. Alrighty.
All right.
Then let's go ahead and remove this box. They haven't put a lot of propolis on that. Just move it over here to a safe area. And but here's one use of smoke. Hopefully it's smoking a little bit. This will help drive them down. Well, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 frames of bees.
Yeah.
We are definitely at 8 frames of bees on here. I don't know if I want to do anything more than remove hurting my queen. I can see drone cells right there. See the larger drone cells there? So that's something that's good to see at this time of year. I see honey, and I know there's brood in there. So I really don't need to do anything more with this hive. Unless you think you want to go in there for any reason.
You're asking me?
Yep.
Nope.
Is there anything you want to see?
Nope.
I only see 1 blank frame, 1.5 blank frames. Everything else is completely drawn out. Okay, no, I'm going to correct that. This is a blank frame as well. So I actually have
which is normal.
1, 2. Interesting. I don't want to change it. I'm tempted to take that 1 frame that's fully built out and put it in this bottom box. So tempted. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it just the way it is.
Sure.
Let's just go ahead and do what I said I was going to do, which is to remove this burr comb off of here. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this up and leave it alone for another week. Okay, don't get in there. Don't get in the mess. Good girls. Yep. So it'll be interesting to see what takes place in the next week with this top box.
Well, what happens when you get too many bees?
They swarm.
So you have to continue to expand this.
Correct.
As population grows.
Correct. And see, there's another piece of that duct tape. Well, they sure picked up a noise level right there all of a sudden.
Yeah.
What's going on with our hive? What's this guy doing in here? So that's it for today.
All right.
So we determined that I expanded that box too soon, that colony over there too soon, and that we're pretty much right on time with this one here. So that's it for today.
Right on.
So thank you very much for running the camera. It seems to have worked well today.
Yeah.
And
Try to hold steady.
hope people have enjoyed this video. Not a lot to be learned on this particular one, but I am happy with both of my hive inspections today. So for right now, we'll say rider out and go back to the phone, which is controlling the camera, and we will shut it down. As always, if you have any questions, please post them in the comments and I will respond to them when I have time. Everybody have a wonderful weekend and be safe.